Nice to meet everyone. So as Astrid said, my name's Hugh. I work for the LYCRA Company. I'm here in Switzerland, and I'm actually responsible for our polyester products and strategies. And of course, needless to say, sustainability has been and will continue to be absolutely central to our plans as we go forward. So it's really great to be invited to speak today. I'm going to talk, as Astrid said, about how we use textile cutting waste to make premium grade polyester fibers for warming and cooling applications in woven and knit fabrics, and also in insulation non-wovens. And importantly, again, as Astrid said, with absolutely no compromising quality or performance. Yeah, we brand these fibers as Coolmax Fiber for cooling applications, Thermolite fiber for fabrics with lightweight warmth. You'll see that we have a wide range of products already commercial, really available at a large scale and ready to use now, so that a real solution for polyester-rich textile waste is already available. So over the next few pages, I'm going to give you some context into the scale of the waste problem we are facing. I know many of you will be familiar with this, but I think it helps to really, reinforce the picture of the size of the problem. As we know, more garments are being made every year, around 100 billion at the moment. Most of these garments, around 85% of them, actually end up in landfill. And that's really, a staggering one garbage truck per second. It's just such an incredible number, yeah? And right now we're buying actually 60% more clothes than we were just 6 years ago. And we actually just keep them half as long. So, the problem is just getting bigger and bigger, and now it's catching up with us, as the chart illustrates. And again, this slide says what we all know, that we're making unsustainable strains on our planet. On the current pathway, resource consumption will triple in the next 30 years or so, and we would, in theory, need at least 3 Earths to support this if nothing changes. So, that's a sobering thought as we think about the future and what we as an industry and ourselves as ordinary consumers are doing and have to do. But the good news is that the population is becoming aware of the problem, and they see the need to change, or at least beginning to see the need to change. Indeed, even last year, some research showed around 81% of consumers expect brands to do the right thing and to behave more sustainably, with 53% of consumers already wanting to improve their own personal footprint in the areas of waste garments. And most importantly, perhaps, almost 70% of consumers think that sustainability is one of the top 3 big issues impacting our world today. So again, at least consumers are aware. Maybe more importantly, right, consumers are actually beginning to change their attitudes to shopping. So for example, in this research, we found that 60% of consumers are willing to change their shopping habits right now. More than 50% of consumers already only buy from brands or companies that they trust. And I was a little surprised to find, but maybe it's not so surprising, that sustainably marketed products are now growing 7 times faster than conventionally marketed items. And then finally, 55% of shoppers feel that they're making, or almost 55% of shoppers feel they're making a difference through the products they already choose to buy. So in summary, the textile problem is recognized by consumers, and most consumers are already wanting to do something about it. So I'll just speak for a moment about the LYCRA Company and our approach to sustainability. Of course, we in the LYCRA Company want to improve the situation, as do many others in the trade. At the LYCRA Company, we have a program called Planet Agenda, which was already launched back in 2008 and continues to be our roadmap. So Planet Agenda has 3 pillars. Pillar 1 is corporate responsibility, and that's really all about doing the right thing all the time, creating a safe and healthy workplace, and being seen as a good company to work for or to buy from. The second pillar is manufacturing excellence. This is all about making things as efficiently as possible, conserving resources, reducing emissions, eliminating waste, and all those good things. The third pillar, though, is all about having sustainable products, making fibers with less resources, enhancing the environmental profile of fibers that we make, and indeed the fabrics that are made from them. So indeed, the original Coolmax Ecomade products, made from 100% used consumer PET bottles, were already introduced back in 2007. These are great products, and they still make up the majority of our sales in polyester today. And of course, they do help to deal with the waste created by the food and drink industry. So indeed, linked to that product pillar, I now wanted just to change gear and talk about our latest innovations in sustainable products. Talk about a technology that recycles textile waste, and as such creates a starting point for circularity within the textiles industry. So we think it's a very exciting innovation. What we're doing, for the first time, we're introducing cooling and warming products made from textile waste under our well-known Coolmax and Thermolite brands. So we're actually taking polyester-rich cutting waste, dyed and finished cutting waste, colored cutting waste from selected garment makers as an input, and we're turning that waste into premium performance fiber. This creates the starting point for a circular economy in textiles. Now, the great thing is that the technology already works with used garments, and in the future, we want to partner with brands and retailers to take back garments, therefore closing the textiles recycling loop. So just to elaborate a little on how this works, as I mentioned, we're collecting dyed and finished cutting waste from specific sources. We're depolymerizing that waste to monomers. We're then cleaning the waste, removing the dye stuffs and the like, and then essentially repolymerizing the monomers to make what really is virgin grade chip again, before making fiber and selling that back into the textiles manufacturing chain. So that creates a circular system based on pre-consumer cutting waste. Of course, what we want to do, as I mentioned, is to use the same technology to deal with the post-consumer garment waste. But we can only do that when robust textile collecting and sorting systems are in place. So whilst that's our goal, and of course it's a goal of many of us in the industry, I think we mustn't forget that pre-consumer waste is a huge problem in its own right, and probably one that's not so well recognized. So if you just think about that, if 1 garbage truck per second of used garments is going to landfill, and you use 20%, you generate 20 to 30% cutting waste when you make a garment, that means 1 truckload of cutting scrap is going to waste every 3 to 5 seconds. So that's a huge problem in its own right, and it's one that we can deal with now without having to wait for the garment collection and sorting processes to be put in place. So when we use this new recycling process and look at it from an LCA perspective, I think probably the highlight, particularly in today's environment, is CO2 reduction. Net, what we find in the production of semi-dull polyester chip is that the CO2 reduction is around 25% lower versus making the equivalent semi-dull virgin chip. Plus, of course, you keep the existing material in cycle and making premium grade, essentially virgin quality material with all the aesthetics, quality, and durability benefits that you would expect. Yeah. So in this next section, I wanted to talk about the specific products we're making, which are now commercially available at scale, as I mentioned. So I'll begin by talking about Coolmax Fiber, which we're now making using this new process. On this chart, the left-hand side shows you the key consumer expectations for cooling products. People expect breathable fabrics that keep you cool. Fabrics have to feel good, they need to be lightweight, they need to move like a second skin. Obviously, they must be durable, especially in the context of sustainability. The garments also have to be versatile. It's not about having a fabric just for high-impact sport. It's also having fabrics and garments for summer days, warm office environments, warm work environments, and the like. And as we know, increasingly, these products have to be sustainable. So the right-hand side of the chart shows what we're doing. So we're creating fibers with specially channeled cross-sections with high surface areas, which are designed to spread moisture and evaporate it as quickly as possible. The spreading effect is well known. It helps to keep you dry, but the key feature is really evaporation. And it's the evaporation of moisture that cools you down. Think about what we do every moment of the day these days, rubbing our hands with alcohol solution and thinking how cold that feels. It's that evaporative effect that gives Coolmax its coolness, and that's how Coolmax works, all about evaporative cooling. And I guess really the point here is that you can now have all that performance in a product made from textile waste with no performance, quality, hand or optical compromises. We already have a range of filament and staple items available, so you can access almost all garment types already, from high-impact sportswear with filament, and then obviously with the staple items through to everyday cotton blends, for example, viscose blends, in socks, t-shirts, denim, and the like. Okay, so we cover a very broad spectrum of applications with these products, not just the sportswear industry, which of course is what we're our focus today. I wanted just to elaborate at one point on performance testing and the work that we do to ensure that the benefits that we build into the fiber actually come through to the fabric. Yeah, because what we really want to do, as Coolmax is a consumer brand, we really need to be sure that the products work on garment in the store. So what we do is we perform a battery of proprietary tests, cooling tests on the fabrics to ensure that they actually work in practice. We benchmark the performance of our products versus other cooling products on the market in garment form, and we typically find around a third of the products in a store aren't doing what they claim. Many of them are not even wicking when they say they do. And again, we think that's a key part of our value proposition, helping to ensure that the garments in store really do perform. I think again, from the way we approach this technology, durability is assured because it's fiber-based, and as you can read here, we have various certifications endorsing the sustainability credentials of the products, Oecotex, GRS, and the like. Page 16, my page 16, sorry, this talks to Coolmax brand value. And in summary, the Coolmax brand is one of the top 3 best-known cooling brands globally. And with this awareness, there's also linked to strong purchase preference at premium prices. So brands and retailers who work with us on certified products can leverage this equity to enhance garment quality and to drive purchase preference, even at premiums versus generics. So this is really a central part of our value proposition, helping to explain to the consumer what Coolmax is and what Ecomade means. The next chart, I'm basically changing gear and talking about Thermolite, which is all about lightweight warmth. And of course, that's the warming partner brand for Coolmax, for the Coolmax brand technologies. So again, in this chart, very similar to the one for Coolmax, on the left-hand side, we have the consumer expectations for the warming technology in apparel. Of course, consumers want warmth, but they also want it to be lightweight and to feel good. Yeah. Durability and versatility are also key. And again, on versatility, this isn't just about making jackets to climb, for mountaineering and climbing Everest and the like. This is also about having jackets and gloves that you can buy in a retail store and wear on a cold winter's day. In other words, making products that are suitable for all applications and price points. And then, of course, on the sustainability side, consumers are becoming increasingly aware of the need for sustainable products. Right-hand side of the chart again, showing our solution, providing lightweight warmth for these consumers. So indeed, Thermolite technology is based on hollow fibers, and they mimic the fur of polar bears. The hollow fibers trap more air per unit weight than a solid fiber, so you get more warmth per kilogram. And as is the case with the Coolmax Ecomade fibers, Thermolite Ecomade fibers made from textile waste provide the same quality and performance as their virgin counterparts, whether you use them in a knit or a woven or a non-woven insulation fabric. So again, just as with Coolmax fiber, part of our value proposition is to routinely test that the fabrics, not just the fibers, are delivering the excellent warming and related performance, such as dry times, breathability, packability, and the like. Durability is assured as with Coolmax because the technology is fiber-based. So in short, again, we're testing to ensure that the brand promise of lightweight warmth is delivered in the fabric, linked again to those sustainability certifications such as GRS. And once again, on brand value, as you can see, Thermolite is one of the most recognized warming technology brands globally. This again linked to a very strong purchase preference at premium prices. As is the case for Coolmax fiber, the Thermolite brand is a great asset that endorses the performance of the products to consumers and typically enhances the sell-through of products, making retailers happier. You know? And as I said, these textile waste products are not just a dream or available at startup scale. They're available now for broad commercial use in staple, filament, and fiber fill forms. And as I said, for all common textile end uses, woven, knits, seamless, you name it, socks, hosiery, etc. So just to kind of finish up, I have 3 charts on our very latest innovation, which we're launching today at Performance Days. So Thermolite Ecomade insulation made from textile waste. So these insulations have proprietary constructions and fiber recipes that are designed to give really industry-leading performance in the context of insulation, whilst the recycled content gives outstanding sustainability credentials. This next chart's a little bit complicated, but it gives us just a snapshot of the kind of performance you can expect with the new Thermolite Ecomade insulations. So the top left chart, this is for thin insulation, such as that which might be used in a lightweight jacket or a glove or something like that. The orange bar that you can see is the Thermolite textile waste product. And as you can see, it has the best CLO per unit weight ratio of any leading industry competitive product. The top right-hand box demonstrates the value in mid-loft applications, which are typically used for puffer jackets and the like. Again, Thermolite Ecomade insulation is the orange bar, and again, you can see the great warmth per unit weight that you can get from this technology. The bottom chart, though, is interesting, and it shows the recycled content of the Thermolite product, the first 2 bars, versus common competitors. So in summary, what you can see here is the Thermolite products have at least 85% content. We have constructed these particular insulations 50% using bottle waste and 35% using textile cutting waste. And you can see that the competitive products typically have around 50% content plus or minus. And I guess the takeaway here is the industry can now have uncompromised performance with outstanding sustainability credentials, helping us all to deal with the textile waste issue. So we think that's a very important innovation, obviously, for the outdoor industry, but also for brands and retailers who are increasingly selling branded insulation products at retail. So this next page is basically a simple overview of the LYCRA Company's Ecomade portfolio. The LYCRA Ecomade fiber, many of you may already know, this is partly made from pre-consumer recycled materials. LYCRA T400 Ecomade fiber. This is a polyester-based stretch fiber that's mostly used for bottle resins and that is mostly made from bottle resin and bio-based materials. T400 fiber is often used in denim to give very good stretch recovery characteristics in heavy fabrics. It is increasingly used in knits, where you can get very good. You can basically mimic the characteristics of fabrics with low contents of spandex. And then, of course, we've got the Coolmax and Thermolite Ecomade items that we've been talking about, mostly today made from plastic bottles, 100% plastic bottles, now made from textiles waste, 100% textile waste, as we've just discussed. So that was my quick overview. I hope you will join us in our mission to kickstart circularity in textiles through our Coolmax and Thermolite textile waste initiatives, working together to keep that waste out of landfills. I know we're going to open this for questions, but before we do that, I just wanted to mention that if you do have questions later on in the day that you've thought through, you can send me a note. Of course, you can also contact your local LYCRA Company representative, or you can visit us on our new business portal, LYCRA One. So again, that's my quick summary of the textile waste project. I'll pass it now back to Astrid and Charles, I think, who are going to take your questions.
Hugh, thank you for that presentation. And I like the way you gave some really interesting detail, but the majority was of the main overview, which is the change of strategy. So it's interesting to see both the new technology coming on board, but the wider vision that LYCRA are taking to this. Now, there are questions which have come in on Slido. We're not going to be able to answer them all within the 5 minutes that we need to wrap up in, but I want to ask publicly the main 3 questions. And can I ask you afterwards, Hugh, stay around, go on to Slido and answer these questions in a bit more detail. But Stephen has asked, very formal here, dear Dr. Williams, as the specific LYCRA fiber does need for the recycling process a clean polymer, how do you manage to purify the polymer? So it's a question of using of post-consumer LYCRA. How can you do that? So that's the first question. Before you answer it, Paul asks, does the LYCRA company sell a Coolmax made from 100% textile waste feedstock, or is it blended with fossil-based feedstock? Or is it based on mass balance? So that's the second question. And the third question is, what testing method did you use for the cooling properties? So 3 really good questions, and I'd love you to answer them all in detail. Can you give a quick overview on what testing method you used for the cooling properties?
Sure, yeah. Do you want me to start there and we'll work backwards through the list? Is that what you'd like me to do? Okay.
That would be great.
Yeah, so what we do is we have a battery of proprietary tests, and they are proprietary tests. And obviously we're looking at things like dry time, breathability, wicking rates in various dimensions. Yeah, but the way we're doing this, we've actually correlated those kind of lab-based quality control tests through to cooling power as measured in with pieces of kit like a sweated guarded hot plate, which links through to these kind of Watson tests that are often done. So what we do is when we do routine testing, we do these simple lab tests, but we have calibrated those lab tests to back through to link to the cooling power of the fabric.
So you're actually looking at several different ISO recognized tests, and you're using an amalgamation of them.
Some of them are our own tests. Some of them are AATCC, A-squared tests. Yeah, but it's about the combination of them and how we can, if you like, use an algorithm to essentially look at each of those individual 4 or 5 different tests, and via an algorithm turn that into a kind of like a cooling power, a watts per square meter of fabric, if you like.
Okay, that makes good sense.
We try to connect it to some kind of reality. Yeah,
that's interesting to hear, because it's one of those questions which I should have asked, because it is a very good question. The next question on the list was, does the LYCRA company sell a Coolmax made from 100% textile waste, or are you having to supplement it with fossil fuel?
No, these are, like I said, these are 100% textile waste items. Okay.
Brilliant.
Okay. And we have them. We have Coolmax. We have hollow fibers for Thermolite, and channel fibers, if you like, for Coolmax. We have staple fibers in various forms, and we have filament fibers again in various forms, some microfibers and some coarser hand items. So, it's the beginning. This is our kind of launch kind of platform at Performance Days, but we have already a product range there in 100% textile waste. No top-ups with bottle resin, no top-ups with virgin polymer, and they're there to be used.
Brilliant, thank you. And Stephen's question, which was the first one, how can you make sure, or what is the process that you can make sure you have a clean polymer for which to recycle?
Right. So what we're able to do is basically we're taking textile cutting waste, but that's simply because it's dyed and finished. It's simply because that's what we can source easily, right? So what we're doing is we're actually sourcing the cutting waste from known facilities, and then basically bringing that in through an audited supply chain, if you like, to the recycling facility, and then basically if you like doing a mass balance, if you like, around that, so many kilos in, so many kilos out, to ensure that we've got the right, the 100% product coming out of the system. The cleanliness is basically, we're basically chemically depolymerizing the polymer, and we have a proprietary, if you like, cleaning step, which is removing the color and any other waste. Yeah. And what we know is, we do know it does work on garments, even dirty garments, if you like. But the issue we've got on garments is we just can't collect garments in an organized, big enough way at the moment to be able to use post-consumer garments. Of course, as the industry comes together to fix that collection and sorting problem, we would hope to be at the forefront there of offering products made from post-consumer garment waste.
Brilliant. That makes a lot of sense. Hugh, can I thank you for giving not only your knowledge, but your time to educate the rest of us? And can I grant you 30 seconds just for a leaving message? What do you want people to wander away from this session retaining in their mind?
I mean, I think this waste problem is too big for any one company to deal with. So we've teamed up with a couple of companies, probably most importantly Co2 in Japan, to enable us to put this together. And I think what we would be looking for ourselves is partnerships and collaborations in order to kind of like help the industry develop the kind of technology that's required to deal with textile waste. And of course, to come together to form, to basically deal with that garment collection and sorting problem. So I think it's a massive problem. None of us can do it on our own. We need to work together as an industry to deal with the various collection, sorting, technology problems. But I would say what we have done here with the Co2 is we do actually have something that's available now, and is truly commercial, and I hope people will contact us and at least take that first step forward in circularity with us.